There are three main components when it comes to your clarinet and music journey. And in this video, I'm gonna unpack what they are so you can know what to be looking for, sort of where you are in the journey, and where to go next in your clarinet and music journey. My name is Josh Gu, and I'm taking my years of experience learning, teaching, and performing, and sharing all of my best clarinet and music tips so you can get more out of your practice, and most importantly, have fun. You can learn more about all of my many resources at quickstartclarinet.com, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit the bell to get notified when I post new videos. So as I've thought about my own clarinet journey and learning throughout the years, I realized there were a few key things that were coming up kind of over and over throughout my own journey and experience. And I was thinking about how it almost kind of relates to the hero's journey and is similar to the hero's journey. If you aren't familiar with the hero's journey, it's this kind of literature archetype where it's this idea that the hero gets this sort of call to adventure, and then they go through these trials and tribulations, and they have mentors and followers and things like that, and then they kind of return full circle, but as a changed person and as kind of the hero now. A very famous example of the hero's journey that you all may be familiar with is Luke Skywalker from Star Wars, is a great classical example. And in my clarinet journey, I experienced kind of similar things. It doesn't exactly follow the hero's journey. It's a little bit kind of a different process, but I wanted to share it and explain that process to you so you can find these components in your own journey so that you can continue moving forward and continue improving and enjoying your clarinet and music more. Another reason why it's very important, I think, to kind of have these things in your journey is because they are what keeps the journey moving forward. It's very possible and very easy to get sort of stagnated and not go on a journey. If we think about Luke's example, if he never decided to leave Tatooine and go become a Jedi, then he wouldn't have gone on any journey and he would have never become the hero. And this kind of journey and the three components that I'm thinking about when it comes to clarinet playing and music in general, it applies to all instruments, is that you need these components and you need to kind of pursue these components or else you'll never master music. And that's kind of what I'm all about, is helping you enjoy playing more and enjoy mastering music more. So in my own journey, the way that this took place is starting back in probably high school is where it really started. There was a little bit in middle school where I got excited and interested in the clarinet, and band was my favorite class, and all of that stuff was really great. But the first key moment for me that I think was kind of the first step, kind of the call to adventure in my clarinet journey, was when I started learning the Weber Concertino for Solo and Ensemble Festival. And I had done solo and ensemble festivals before, I had been in the all-county honor band before, and I had done things and was taking lessons and was well on my journey and was doing the clarinet things. But I think back then, I was just Luke in his little farm on Tatooine, just not going for the adventure, not going towards mastery yet. But what changed when I started working on the Weber Concertino is my teacher said I should look up a recording of it and hear how it goes. I went on YouTube, which was very new back then, and found a video of Stanley Drucker playing the Weber Concertino. And my mind was absolutely blown at how amazing the clarinet could sound, the amazing things that the instrument could do. And that sort of opened up my reality and my world. Again, relating it to the hero's journey, when Luke meets Ben Kenobi in the desert and learns that his father was a Jedi, it sort of opens things up and sets him down this path that he can't turn back from. And that's how I felt listening to Stanley Drucker play. It was mind-blowing and eye-opening, and I realized, wow, there's so much more that I can do with the clarinet and so much more that I want to do on the instrument. So this first component that sort of captured in that moment of my clarinet journey is what I'm calling sort of the inspiration and motivation phase. And it's that inspiration and motivation that has to happen, or else you never have that desire or that yearning to do more. And again, you stay just on the farm in your status quo, just living life the way that you're living it, playing the clarinet the way that you've always played it, forevermore unless there's that catalyst of inspiration and motivation. And the thing with these components too is it's not a linear cycle, where the hero's journey in literature especially is very cyclical and very straightforward of you get the call to action, you do this, and you can kind of pinpoint those events. Unfortunately, life, or maybe fortunately, but life doesn't happen exactly the same way as literature or books or movies happen, where it's the series of events unfold, beginning, middle, and end. Life is much more nuanced to that, with kind of all of these things returning and happening again. So the Stanley Drucker recording was one instance of inspiration and motivation for me, but I've had many others that I can clearly point to since then as well that were really significant. But that inspiration and motivation is kind of the call to action that gets things moving forward. Now, the next step in the journey is where the obstacles start to happen. We get this call to action, it's very exciting, and we're on the adventure, but then we encounter the perils of adventure. So in the Star Wars analogy, Luke leaves Tatooine, but doesn't really know what he's doing. He's gone from this very small, isolated existence to now being in the entire galaxy. Obi-Wan dies, spoiler alert. He encounters all of these difficulties. And the same thing happened to me in my clarinet journey. So in high school, that was my sophomore year, that I decided, oh, wow, Stanley Drucker, clarinet's amazing. I want to be able to do stuff like that. And then I attended the Lamont Pre-College Summer Academy the summer after my junior year of high school. And that was kind of my leaving the isolated desert planet, where I was really good. I was playing first part in the all-county honor band. I had made the all-state honor band. And then I went to the Lamont Pre-College Academy, where there were musicians my age from all over the world who were way better than I was, and had so much more experience and skill. And it was inspiring and motivating to see that, especially. But it was also a little bit daunting and intimidating. And that's where I had to rise to the challenge and rise to the occasion to sort of live up to those expectations and fulfill those kind of bigger shoes when we get that bigger, greater experience. And what I'm calling this sort of is the mastering the fundamentals. That's phase 2 in the musician's journey, is we reach a point where our sort of raw talent is no longer doing it for us, and we have to actually get serious and really learn the instrument. And that's when I started studying with Dr. Jeremy Reynolds at the University of Denver, who I would end up doing my undergraduate degree with as well. And my senior year of high school, when I started studying with him, he showed me how to do long tones in a meaningful way. He gave me scale patterns to start practicing, and articulation exercises, and fundamental warm-up stuff to actually learn how to play the clarinet. Rather than all of that time before, I had just been trying to learn music and kind of bringing my clarinet skills to the music. And sure, when I did the Weber Concertino and other pieces like that, my clarinet skills did get better because I had to work on those pieces and learn those pieces. But it was that senior year of high school and freshman year of college where I really learned how to work on the fundamentals of the instrument. And that's where the trajectory really took off. So a lot of times I think of this kind of S-curve that happens when it comes to really, I think, learning any skill. Most of us, again, if we never get that inspiration and motivation to be better, we just kind of coast along at what our skill is with incremental improvements. But when we get to step 2, where we really dig into the fundamentals and really master the fundamentals, that's where the exponential curve really starts to take off. And if you have a really good teacher, then they're probably exposing you to those things and making you work on those things. And that's where you go from, oh, my notes didn't come out reliably. Now they do. I never played fast notes confidently in control. Now I can. That's where things really start to take off, and you go from the skills that you used to have feeling like beginner student skills to actually understanding the fundamentals and actually moving leaps and bounds forward in your music journey. And then we have the last phase of the journey, which is kind of the pinnacle climactic moment where the hero becomes fully realized. In the Star Wars analogy, Luke redeems Vader, and sort of shows his mastery of everything that he's accomplished and worked on and trained for over the years, and reaches that kind of pinnacle moment. In the real hero's journey too, there's kind of a return, but return knowing better, and it's kind of that idea as well. And in my clarinet journey, I think that happened sort of when I studied and went to the Aspen Summer Music Festival, and also getting my master's degree at Northwestern. And what happened there was not a huge exponential growth like when I started studying with Dr. Reynolds and actually learned how to play the instrument, but it's more of a sort of lots of work for incremental gain here at the top, but it's that really important work that distinguishes people who are advanced players and very proficient at what they do to those people who are truly professionals and have truly mastered things. And what happened at Aspen and at Northwestern, and kind of through that process of auditioning for grad schools, even in preparing to audition for grad schools, was real true mastery, where I went deeper than ever before with the things that I was working on. And I think I'm still experiencing some of these things in my playing now, where I'm at the point that I'm capable of playing things, where in the beginning, when I did the Weber Concertino, I pulled it off, but I knew it didn't sound like Stanley Drucker. Now, I'm not saying I can play the Weber Concertino as good as Stanley Drucker necessarily, but I can play the Weber Concertino pretty darn well, and I can play pretty much any piece of clarinet music pretty darn well. But now is where you have to go really deep with it to really extract those last little bits. It's, again, that pinnacle of achievement, that really fine-tuning, getting to the tippity top of the journey. And again, I don't think everybody needs to find this part of the journey, and I think there's ways to find this on sort of smaller scales, even as you're maybe learning a piece like the Weber Concertino. But what it is, I think, and the way I describe this sort of third phase of the journey, is taking it to a further depth and going deeper with things. And again, this is really what I learned during my master's degree, was to look at music and not just play it to play the clarinet well, but play it to play the music well and really understand how the music goes. I had mastered the fundamentals of the clarinet and have enough control over the clarinet that I can get what I want out of it. Now, the whole world and infinite options are available to me to decide, how do I actually want the music to go? I can do whatever I want with the clarinet. So what is it that I really want? And that's a cool place to be in, where you can really explore and experiment and develop ideas as you move forward. So wherever you are in the journey is totally fine. If you're still Luke back on Tatooine on the farm, that's okay. But you're starting out, and the key that's going to help the most is finding that inspiration and motivation to sort of know that you can go to the next level and have that world opened up. Listening to recordings and professionals is a great way to do that. Then you can master the fundamentals and rise to the challenge of figuring out, wow, okay, it's possible to play like this. Now I need to figure out how to actually do that and gain control of the instrument to do it. Then once you have control over the instrument and you can play lots and lots of music, then the world opens up to be able to play whatever you want, be able to go deeper and decide how you want to play whatever you want, and really truly master and enjoy music and complete the journey. And again, remember, it will never be, I made it, I'm done. You'll feel that sort of depth of mastery even on very simple pieces when you really get to know them and really get to work on them. And then you'll be inspired to move to another level, and you'll have to raise your levels of fundamentals and control over the instrument to do that. You'll get that deep mastery of something, and then be inspired and motivated to move on to the next level again. So even though there is this kind of exponential curve, there's probably many versions of that where you do the little exponential curve here, and then the little exponential curve here, and the little exponential curve here, and it continues on moving forward in the journey. So hopefully this was interesting and gave you some food for thought about your clarinet and music journey. I hope you go out there and search for one of those three components to take your journey to the next step, so you can continue moving forward and learning to love your clarinet and music even more, because when we make more music, the world becomes a more beautiful place, and that's my mission. So if that sounds interesting to you as well and you like getting tips and tricks like this, then definitely subscribe to this channel, like this video so it gets out to more people and the algorithm appreciates that. And I appreciate you and thank you so much for watching this video, and I look forward to seeing you in another one. And last but not least, a huge heartfelt thank you to the Dennersons. This is like the Quick Start Clarinet family who supports the channel and helps to make everything that I do possible. If you would like to support the channel and get some awesome rewards in return where we can work one-on-one over video and you can have my full support moving forward on your clarinet journey, then go to quickstartclarinet.com/supporter.